If you've got an audience that is willing to listen and then take the information that is factual.
Yes.
For Kylie Jenner to drop into my comments.
I know.
That guy. Okay. What do you think is going to be the next big thing?
That whole 90s aesthetic is coming back.
I'm getting turned on.
So far, I'm here for it.
If you don't make mistakes, you don't find the new way, you don't get better, you don't learn.
Preach.
Oh, the Jaclyn Hill crap? I actually thought it was funny, and then people told me, it's like, no, you should have been terrified. Somebody sent me a picture of the front of my apartment building and said, you live here, right? DM'd me and said, you live here, right? 2 weeks beforehand, you're telling me you're still reformulating, you're full of shit. And if you are, I'm terrified.
Yes.
And then I found out who was making this stuff, and I was like, this is going to be a shit show.
So I always say this when we have
So
guests.
we're just starting. Yeah, let's
Oh, there we go.
Cheers.
And you cheers.
Yes,
Cheers,
we're doing
guys.
it right. So
Let's do
cheers.
it right.
While we all sip our champagne that Kevin brought over for us, we are going to introduce. So I always say when I have guests, this is the uncomfortable moment that you're going to have to listen to your career accomplishments.
Don't do that.
Okay, ready? We're going to blast through it. All right, everybody.
Don't do it.
2-time Emmy winner, 5-time Emmy nominee, cosmetics developer for brands like Thrive Cosmetics, Philosophy, First Aid Beauty, so many more. Professional makeup artist, 4 decades of experience, educator and industry expert. Almost done. Appearing on the Today Show.
Did you have to do the 4 decades?
Yeah. Appearing on the Today Show, Entertainment Tonight, with contributed content to publications such as Vanity Fair, Allure, Glamour, and more. Like I said,
You've been to my website.
so many more. However, by far one of the most honest, just professionals in the industry. That is very much what we love to see. As you,
it's nice to not be called a hater.
But you know what's so funny, and that's what we're going to dive right into it. Is we were obviously talking about this and before this, and we're like salivating to ask you so many questions. But before we get into the honesty conversation, and this sounds very cliche, but I always love to know, where did you grow up and what kind of led you to want to get into the beauty industry and just your journey to cosmetics?
Believe it or not, grew up in Brooklyn.
Okay.
You can't tell from the accent.
Yeah.
In the 70s.
Okay.
In the 60s and 70s, which was not easy for a little gay boy.
Of course.
Especially one that liked pretty things.
Yes.
Makeup was plan D or E.
Really?
Yeah. I was going to be on Broadway. I was going to sing and dance. I was going to be...
I was going to do the same thing.
Of course you were. That's where we're so simpatico.
Here. Yeah.
I love that.
What?
My children.
I love.
My children. And it was funny because I kept on auditioning. We used to go on things called cattle calls back then.
Mm-hmm.
There'd be like 500-600 people outside of a rehearsal studio.
Yeah.
And you go in like you see on TV shows. It's like, next. I went in and there was this one lovely casting director, this old Jewish woman.
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she said, "You're very good, but you're very gay."
Oh, no. Oh, God.
You're not going to be an ingenue. You're not going to be a leading man. If that's okay, if you're okay with that, good. Otherwise, I might think of something else.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that dream was squashed.
Of course. Yeah.
Quickly. Yeah.
But I love the way she said it. She's very good, but you're very gay.
Yeah. So you either need to, but that was even before the times of the gay kid was the funny friend. It wasn't even there yet.
No, it's
so
like,
you weren't the birthday clown yet. You were like, no, we don't know where to put you yet.
Our mission in life back then was to be the ingenue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be the leading man that sang in high tenor.
Absolutely.
That was what our goal was.
Yeah.
And it was all about saw Pippin and went,
yeah,
I want to do that.
I know.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, my parents are very much into theater anyway. I think I was like maybe 7 years old.
Okay.
They took me to my first musical, and it was Man of La Mancha.
I was going to ask what it was.
And I remember to this day at the Eden Theater with Richard Kiley and Emily Yancey, and it was before it went to Broadway.
Wow.
That's how old I am, bitches. Yes, that's how old. Yeah, go ahead. Mock me.
They did the out-of-town trials in town.
Mock
right
me.
there.
Yeah, it was downtown. It was a downtown theater. But I loved it. And then my dad was a Renaissance man.
Okay.
He was a painter. He was an architect. He was on the Bonsai Society at the Botanical Gardens. He used to grow those things. I mean, he did everything artistic. He was a musician. My mom was an accountant.
Okay.
She wanted me to go to school.
Yep.
Get an education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't want to hear any of this craziness. Want to be an actor? No. So yeah. But anyway, so Dad gave me the idea. So I thought, you know what? Design. That's interesting. So I worked at a friend's gift store uptown for a while. And then my uncle got me a job at Bloomingdale's in visual.
Okay.
Wow.
And I went to Bloomingdale's. This is, mind you, the early 80s.
Yeah.
Back when Bloomingdale's on a Thursday night would close, and when Friday morning the doors open, it would be a whole new store because us little elves would literally like move walls.
Wow.
So I worked in cosmetics, accessories, and shoes. Those are my departments. And I loved it because we were setting up case lines back then. We didn't have like stacked. It was artistically displayed, and they had all kinds of like doodahs and whatever in there. And like we had like the promotional spots with the sprayers and the makeup things. And like I was doing all that stuff. I was ordering the flowers. I was getting the fabrics. I was doing all this crap. And it was like super exciting. And my roommate at the time, Peter, used to handle the mannequins in the Lexington Avenue and the 3rd Avenue stretch. And they had an ungodly amount of mannequins to do for a Miss America themed stretch. They had 50 mannequins across. They were all abbeys, which are abstracts, not realistic looking, but every mannequin was given a look that was representative of their state.
Oh my God.
Whether it be the wig, whether it be the makeup, whether it be something to make them look like, Miss Georgia, Miss whoever.
Yes.
So it's late at night. And I'm sitting on the floor in the window, and you got your torso of a mannequin, and he throws a basket of makeup at me. And I'm like, what? He says, oh, no. Whoever's in promotion on the B-Way, we use their makeup on the mannequins that week. And I'm like, oh, interesting.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there, and I start painting these mannequins with makeup.
Yeah.
And the Oprah aha moment.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like this.
The gay gods, the heavens, the lights open. You said, I think I found my calling.
Because I paint, I do whatever. I can upholster walls if you want me to. But it's like, I was like, ooh. So, of course, I reach out to all the cosmetic companies I'm working with on the main floor.
Yes.
And I'm like, I have a little bit of training from college, theatrical, performing arts major. Had to learn theatrical makeup.
Yep.
Yeah.
I said, so I want to learn how to do this more, and I would love to
Wow. And the rest was history.
Started freelancing. By 1988, I was picked up by Chanel.
Okay.
Wow.
They figured out I was brains with beauty, and they actually had me coordinating the national accounts. I coordinated the entire 50 states promotionally, all their launches, trained their makeup artists.
Wow.
And at that point, how old were you in that point of your career with Chanel?
30.
Wow. It's so mind-blowing to me for you to say this, because you even saying exactly that you almost developed with Chanel being the trainer and represented everything for the whole country. We've dealt with account executives when we freelance that they have.
Well, I used to work because I handled national accounts, which were all 50.
Yeah.
Like the Lord & Taylors, the Bloomingdale's, the Neiman Marcus, all those chains.
Yeah.
So I had to work with, and back then we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have computers.
I know. Yeah.
I used to be in airport phone booths with my phone card doing business while I was waiting for my next flight. I used to pay my national makeup artists and my resident makeup artists in every store from checkbooks at home.
Oh my God.
But after doing that for 2 years, from 88 to 90, I was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
I need to go back to doing makeup.
Yeah.
So I went back to freelancing again, and freelancing led me to, this is again a weird thing that happened. Barney's was opening their new store on 61st Street. And my regional director and one of the account executives I worked with at Chanel, head of cosmetics.
Yeah.
Kevin, we want you to come work with us.
Yeah.
So I used to literally run around the floor at the brand new Barney's.
Yeah.
Through that whole thing of doing makeup and cross-selling and knowing. And that's how I got so interested in knowing everything about every brand because I was selling everything on the floor, including skincare.
Exactly.
And fragrance.
Yeah.
I also at Chanel, they taught us deep.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Jack Mausner was our head chemist. He taught me all about skincare ingredients. They sent us to Paris to school to learn about Chanel fragrances and the history.
Wow.
Well, when you're an executive with a company,
Of course.
you have to be able to speak the language.
Yeah.
So one day on the floor, I run into this person looking around from counter to counter. And I'm like, can I help you with something? She says, well, I need blah, 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 blah. And she was heading the makeup department on a soap opera that I used to watch as a kid called Another World. And I gave her all this information and I got her all this stuff and everything. And she said, do you work for freelance? I was like, yeah. Liar.
Yeah.
Because I had a full-time job.
Yep.
But at the time I was also resident makeup artist at Peter Coppola's salon in 65th Street. So whenever they needed me, I would duck out of Barney's, go to 65th Street, 4 blocks over, do a celebrity. I mean, they had a celebrity, I would do their makeup. And then at night, I would leave work and I would go to King World Studios and I would do talk shows like, Jerry Springer and like, what's her name?
Ricky Lake.
Oh, and Montel and whatever.
Yep.
And then it was funny because the salon would do these makeover shows on the talk shows, like do the hair and the makeup in 1 hour.
Yeah.
And they would bring me in, and the people in the studio were like, we know Kevin.
Yeah.
Because I'm working there at night.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He just left.
They're like, we already know who this is.
But so I went out to the Brooklyn studios at NBC and I worked on Another World and eventually ended up, because people left to do primetime and whatever, ended up heading the department.
Wow.
So I actually headed the department of 2 network soap operas.
Yes.
For 9 years. Another World and As the World Turns.
Yes.
And that's where the nominations and the Emmys come
that's
from.
where your Emmys came from.
Were both Emmy wins for Another World?
No, actually for As the World Turns.
As the World Turns. Okay. To be the head of a makeup department on a show, what does that encompass? Like, well...
Okay, now, do you want the description of what it's like on primetime or on daytime?
Both, if you want.
Because I have heard so many people go, poo, 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 you got your Emmys from daytime. It's like,
which is ridiculous to me. I know, I don't.
The best job in the world if you're a hairstylist or a makeup artist, because they film 5 days a week.
Yep.
250 days a
Work
year.
Their ass off.
It's a regular job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a 9 to 5.
They don't do reruns.
Yeah.
Soap operas don't do reruns. You are always working.
Yes.
So that was hellacious because I would get in at 6:30 in the morning. Team would come in at 7, actors in at 7. They go to dry rehearsal upstairs. Then by 8:30 a.m., the people that were down to tape the first scenes of the day had to be through hair, makeup, and wardrobe. They had only gotten there an hour and a half before.
Yeah.
So I literally had to do daytime divas, full on lashes, everything, 20 minutes tops.
Yes.
Wow.
Jeez, Lou. All right.
But you get to the point where you're like, boom.
And this is where also the theater experience, I feel like, it's and the same chaos. Yeah.
When artists say to me, I want to learn to be as fast and technically precise as you are, I was like, work retail.
Oh, we say it all the time. Yes.
First of all, 100%. Work retail. Second of all, work a daytime job.
Yes.
Because let me tell you something, in daytime TV, in, out. No, so fast.
Yeah.
So fast. When I worked on Law and Order, we would film one episode over 7 to 9 days.
I know. Yeah.
We were doing a 85 to 100 page script per day in daytime.
Yes.
5 episodes a week.
Yes.
When you were off for Christmas, whatever holidays, whatever, you're losing days.
Yeah.
So then you come back and you have to do 6 episodes or 7 episodes. You do 6 or 7 in 5.
Oh my God. So technically you didn't have a holiday.
And then what happens
is
days in these fictitious cities last 1 episode or 10 episodes. So your continuity is you've got wild episodes flying in that you missed from last week. I am like the continuity queen.
Wow.
Honey, you can't shake me. You can't rattle me. I can see when a hair is out of place now.
Yes.
I watch things on TV and I'm like,
Caught it. Clocked.
Yeah. Because how many times I used to watch, and I used to be a big Charmed fan, and I always used to watch, and it was funny because they had a huge issue with that. It was always hair and makeup issues with Charmed that I would watch all the time, and it was always like Alyssa Milano's hair would be down. Next scene, it would be up in a ponytail, and I was like, what are they doing? Like, who doesn't have the eye for this to be like, her makeup looks different, her hair is different.
Well, it's shot on different days.
Yes.
Or what they also do is, because this is what used to happen like on Fridays at Law & Order, where the day we would always do the courtroom.
Oh, okay.
And the courtroom has many different setups because of the fact that you have to do what they call turnarounds.
Okay.
So all the cameras are facing the tables, defendants and whatever.
Yeah.
Then you got to turn around because you can't have cameras facing that way because you're going to see the cameras facing this way.
Of course.
So every time you turn around or move, and then you got to do the jury box and you got to do the judges thing and like, and every time everything has to match up because they are now cutting pieces in from different angles.
Of course. Yes.
So your continuity has to be on point. But the thing that used to make me nuts about daytime was, let's say that we had some actor that was in, one of the characters was in a fight and got a black eye. The black eye develops. Let's say we're cutting in episodes. I've got a black eye going up and down, changing color throughout the day as we're taping. And have to remember what episode we're in. Or even something as stupid as, because I used to read 5 to 6 scripts a week, and that's 100 pages each.
Jesus.
Because the thing is, I have to also do a little heads up. It's like, okay, you know what? This character is going to be arcing over for 4 episodes on this day.
Yeah.
But on day 3, she's going to have a total emotional breakdown. So I've got to be cognizant of how we start her makeup so that it can break down easily and not be a mess. Also, I don't want to put her in a very strong lip color. Something as simple as a strong lip color because I don't want her crying with a hard lip. Wow. It's going to make her unsympathetic.
Oh my God! Now you're bringing in exactly like the
thinking
emotional
about the
acting
tie of it.
elements.
Yeah.
You have to. You have to think about the characters. Also, we used to also have to think like an actor would come in, like an under 5 or a guest actor would come in and say, "Well, I usually blah blah blah." It's like I already wrote what your character is, and your character wouldn't look like that. You're not in that socioeconomic stratosphere. You would not look that refined. You need to look a little bit more low key.
Wow.
But see, and this is
I know. And this is the thought that goes into it.
But if you're doing your job correctly.
Totally.
Well,
absolutely.
There we go.
Looking at the current climate, like of even beauty, etc., does it make you sad to think about exactly to have had the jobs you've done and continue to do, that so much thought goes into everything and so much intentionality, to now look at the way, in a certain regard, social media has almost reduced.
You mean a triple cut crease with glitter?
I know, the art form of social media and knowing what you do behind the scenes, to see certain people on social media getting praised as though they're building the Great Wall of China for doing this most simple thing.
Shall we go there?
Let's dive in.
Shall we talk about all this shit existed long before any of these people did?
I know.
And we keep on giving them new names.
Latte makeup.
It's like we were doing shading and counter shading, which then became highlighting and contouring.
Yep.
And I actually love your bronze touring.
Yeah, bronzer.
Blonzers.
Yeah.
But I'm like, and then people get pissed off, and I was like, guys, this is not revolutionary.
This
is not. And then I go, you're a hater, you're jealous, you're a has-been, you're this. Like, baby, I'm not a has-been. Because if I was a has-been, why the hell are you coming to my page and talking shit?
And telling me about myself.
And telling me about me and telling me what's wrong about me. It's like, you're here. I also laugh at the whole hierarchy of mega influencer, big influencer, micro influencer, macro, blah, 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 blah. I don't have to have 1 million followers. I can have 5, but all 5 of those followers talk to people that then talk to people that then talk to, what was the hair shampoo? It's like, and then told 2 friends, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. Yeah. It's like, you don't need, if you've got an audience that is willing to listen and then take the information that is factual along with them. For Kylie Jenner to drop into my comments.
I know.
That guy. Okay.
Well, it speaks to, like you're saying, that's my biggest problem on social media, is that it's falsely made people think that all opinions are the same. And yes, everyone has the right to an opinion, but on a certain subject matter.
That?
Yes.
Not that all opinions are the same. They think that all opinions are facts.
Absolutely. And it speaks to the weight of an opinion based on experience.
Opinions are not facts. Facts are facts. That's it. So when I come back at someone respectfully, and you notice I don't get down and dirty until somebody gets stupid.
Yes.
Put that on a t-shirt. I need that on a fucking t-shirt.
I don't get catty until someone gets stupid.
Stupid. I'm like, okay, and I will even say, respectfully disagree.
Yeah. So the Kylie Jenner situation was basically you were pointing out. So when she was
at the lab to do like a PR piece for the Kardashian show on Hulu. Yeah. And I got it immediately when I saw it. And people called me out because they said, well, you didn't give this much heat to Selena Gomez. It's like Selena Gomez was in the lab rooms. She was not out on the production floor. This is why I had the fit about Kylie. The thing is, I mean, it's funny because if you look at the Selena Gomez thing, she's in the room, in like the little lab rooms. Those rooms, it can be a little less safe.
Yes.
Because, you should be wearing your PPE. You should do, whatever.
Yes.
But the thing is, it's not as important in there because you're only doing samples.
Oh, okay.
She did a little spill, and all of a sudden, this body jumps in to mop it up, and they are in full mask. Things, blah, 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 blah. And in the actual lab room,
yes,
Kylie was out on the production floor.
Where the product is being made.
Manufacturing. That she was standing on a platform. You have to step up onto these platforms. That platform held a tank that held 50, 60, 70 liters of the mixed product. It was on the paddles.
Yes.
And she's leaning over and looking into it with no mask.
Yep.
That was somebody's stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the manufacturer could get fined and possibly shut down because the EU does not play.
Yep.
They do not play. And I know this manufacturer that she was at. And I'm like, you let her on the production floor to do this promo piece and she's hanging her head. And it was complexion product. You could see it was on the paddles.
Yeah.
Either concealer or foundation, something.
Yeah.
And she's leaning in, looking, and it's like, there's 50 or 60 liters. Do you know how many bottles that is?
I know.
That's thousands of bottles of product.
Yes.
And she's no mask, no hairnet,
no gloves.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I
Nothing.
have short hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even walk into the chemist's rooms, into the lab, onto the bench without wearing a hairnet, a lab coat, a mask, gloves. Which brings us to the whole Jaclyn Hill thing. Oh. We do not wear gloves that have fuzzies.
Okay. White butler gloves. Yeah. That's what she tried to pass it off.
She did, and I said, "You are so the straws," and she's grasping with her little white gloves.
Well, no,
on.
we were like, what are they? Nitrile? I think it's called nitrile. It's like the black or the blue ones.
Yes,
they're non-latex.
Yeah.
This way you don't have like
the powder
sensitivity if you have a latex allergy.
Yeah, of course.
So they wear, we wear those all the time.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, okay, no, they were not wearing white fuzzy gloves to be handling your product.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, they were handling the cases. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Because the machine puts the bullet into the case. If the case was being hand polished, it would have been finished with a cap on it.
As if the people with these white
and they wouldn't have been wearing
gloves
the fuzzy gloves either.
Were cut like Demi Moore and Ghost were making her
exactly.
Oh, not me going like this.
We're making her lipsticks.
And Patrick Swayze's behind everybody like, yeah, do you like how this lipstick's
being
made?
It's so transparent.
But then people get all pissed at me and they're like, well, you're just hating. And you're just like, no. It's like, these are lies.
I always reference my mantra for life is Into the Woods, Stephen Sondheim, the witch at the end, always says, you're not good, you're not bad, you're just nice. And in this world, I'm so tired of people prioritizing the performativeness that is being a nice person. You may think calling someone out, people like to almost wear niceness as a badge of honor, but the intention behind their niceness, they're the ones that go home and are horrible people behind closed doors.
But you want to know something interesting, though? All these people that want me to be nice are saying the most heinous shit.
Yeah.
They're calling me all kinds of names.
Exactly.
They're sending me all kinds of horrible DMs. I mean, the Kylie thing.
I can't even imagine.
I got death threats.
I know. I can't imagine.
I had, the Jaclyn Hill crap. I actually thought it was funny. And then people told me, it's like, no, you should have been terrified. Are you out of your mind? Somebody sent me a picture of the front of my apartment building and said, you live here, right? DM'd me and said, you live here, right?
Over Jacqueline.
And for some odd reason, I was on Instagram at that moment, and something popped up in my message requests or whatever it is. I'm like, who's this? And I was like, that's the front of my building.
Wow.
And I just texted back because I'm that crazy person. I was like, are you downstairs now? I'd be happy to come down.
Yeah.
It's like, really? You think you're going to scare me? You don't scare me.
I know.
These people, I'm not going to be intimidated by these crazy stands.
It's maybe not even yes, there is many cases that people are worse people behind closed doors than they present themselves. But even, and I know you can speak to this, meeting as many people, especially you, meeting the celebrities you met, what you've worked on. At the end, and it's not even a worse or better situation. Sometimes when you meet people in person, they're no worse, but they're just different people. And you really learn how much who they present to you is a performance. Because I have met the biggest people on social media and I meet them in person and circus music starts to play in my head because I'm like, you're afraid of your own shadow, but on social media, you are Ethel Merman. And I'm like, and I've never understood that disconnect because I can't be different because I don't know. It just
try working with actors.
I can't imagine
because when they come into the makeup room and hair, they're them.
Oh, very vulnerable.
Thank you for saying that because people don't understand when somebody's in the makeup chair. There is such physical closeness with that person. They have to trust you.
Yes.
There is an energy exchange that goes on between the two of you. And my actors were always like, they're trying to run lines, they're reading the script. It's like, it's like, honey, I got to get your makeup done in 20 minutes. This is why we're going to veer off for a second.
Go right ahead.
This is why I have a problem with a lot of younger artists.
Yes.
Well, I need this time and I need that time. It's like, no, baby. You got to be able to do makeup on somebody sitting in your chair that's got 50 million things going on around them. I used to have actors running lines with each other. Close your eye now. And I would be maneuvering around and have to get them in and out of the chair in 20 minutes with lashes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, I could never do that. It's like, yeah, you can if you have to.
If you have to.
But nobody's making you.
Yes.
My success is built on failure.
Preach.
If you don't make mistakes, if you don't fuck up, you don't find the new way, you don't get better, you don't learn. It's like, I can never do that. I can never. It's like, why? Have you tried?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's like, you're not challenging yourself because you're afraid to fail because you don't understand how to fail because nobody allowed you to fail. Everybody told you were always good, always right, always the best. It's like, you know what? No.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a winner and a loser.
Yeah.
The big difference is losing doesn't make you a bad person. It just lets you know you have to try harder the next freaking time. People associate it's like, oh, I failed. I'm a loser. I'm bad. It's like, no, you're not bad.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You just didn't make it this time.
And it's so funny because I was at the point when I worked at Sephora and I was a senior artist and I would pass or fail people and do their certifications for makeup. There were so many times where there were store directors that didn't want me to come and do it because I would fail people. I was just
going to say, knowing you, I knew I could predict that they were going to be mad at, my dad used to say that because my dad builds houses. He was an amazing contractor. He inspected my house before my husband and I bought it. And he said to me, he goes, they would never let me be an inspector. And I say, why? And he goes, because there'd be a picture of me hanging on the wall amongst realtors of you better not use this inspector because he's going to point out things we don't want. And that is you with this.
Because I used to do it all the time. I would take people's models. I'm like, great. So you worked on these people, you practiced. I said, great. Now take another model. And I would make everybody switch. And these people would look at me, the artist, and they were like, how dare you? And I said, how dare you think that you were going to get away with it?
I know.
And I would say, you all failed. And these people, they're like, you just wasted so much payroll. I said, you're wasting my time.
I went into a Sephora recently because I had to benchmark some items that were only available at Sephora. I didn't have the time to wait for them to ship to me from the manufacturer because, yes, benchmarking happens. We don't copy other people's homework. We look at a benchmark to send to the lab, to whoever, and say, okay, I want something like this.
Okay.
Which is another topic I want to discuss because the whole copying the homework bullshit that's going on right now, because Tati released a video yesterday this Australian company, they are copying formulas, copying components, copying everything.
No, you know about them. We talked about them on the pod that they're
the makeup revolution of Australia.
Yeah,
yes.
Forget
And they're
their
doing
name.
the bronzing drops.
I'll put a picture.
I'm looking at this stuff and I'm going, you know what? Jipping is one thing, but then taking somebody spent time, and this is where I take umbrage.
Oh, yes.
As a developer.
Yeah.
I take time to do my components, to figure out colors, deco, whatever. Yeah. We look at all this stuff when we're doing the formulation. We look at how the packaging is going to look, how it's going to fit the DNA of the company, and to have somebody just come in and literally look over your shoulder and copy your homework with a substandard formula inside of the packaging, just to get. This is why the cosmetic industry is having issues right now.
You're totally right.
They're not losing money though. Mind you, we're still slated to hit $800 billion by 2026.
I know.
Globally. $800 billion.
I know.
And people keep on buying crap, but I'm like, okay, but can't we be a little bit innovative? Okay, I'm sorry.
We're going to keep going.
I went off.
This is
now
exactly.
You're in our Thunderdome because now that exactly, because we almost had that revolution when we were talking about it on the episode, our therapy episode. I forget what we called it. I
remember it.
Where it was almost the obviously there is so much psychology behind the modern day influencer, and my problem with it is we all know the trope of, listen, influencers want brand deals with companies, so they don't want to talk bad about it. So they kiss the ass, they use the makeup, they say this is the best thing I've ever used. So the brand reaches out to them and wants to work with them. So that's why you're not getting a lot of influencers that are going to be honest. Okay, shelf that. But in that dialogue, in that episode, it dawned on me the dupe culture of it all. Would you give it the same label of fast fashion, the way the Elf?
Do you know where that came from?
It's Forever 21 now.
But do you know where that came from?
No.
That is thanks to the Manny MUAs, the Jaclyn Hills, all of them that held up the expensive product and said, it's just as good as Morphe. It's like bullshit.
I know.
Yeah.
So now people want great makeup for drugstore prices. They demand, because these influencers had them believe erroneously.
That it was all the same.
Oh, she's right. It's buttery. It's this. It's like they're saying, well, not all Chinese manufacturers are bad. It's like, exactly. But the thing is, if you want to get credible manufacturing done in China, you have to have a person on the ground in China to supervise, because they will show you their beautiful manufacturing plant, but then your order goes out to the countryside where there are no
regulations,
sanitary regulations, whatever. We don't know where the ingredients are coming from. But look at our manufacturing plant.
It's gorgeous.
The
it's beautiful.
staged one.
Well, no, they actually use it for the higher
end.
Yes.
For the
higher
end.
But if you think the Dollar Tree palettes that Morphe used to sell, and BH Cosmetics and all these, and people are feeling okay putting that around their eyes, to the point where even like the recent hoo-ha a month or 3 ago.
Yeah.
When Lipstick Nick and James Charles were like talking about his first collab or his first promo for Morphe. Where they talk about, wasn't that the worst freaking palette ever?
But you hawked it for months.
But
you
you
said it was the best.
Said it was the best thing you ever used.
To get your coins.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And made people believe that this was this. And then when you finally came out with your own palette, and there was a whole brouhaha about the pigments that are not safe to be used around the eyes. And then move forward. It's like, did you not learn them because they're being sued for those? What about you coming out with these damn cheap ass paints? You're still formulating weeks before this launch is supposed to happen. Where's the stability testing? Standard stability testing in our industry. 3 months. In the component it will be sold in. If it has SPF in it, 4 months. So even if you're doing fast stability is when they put it to extremes. They literally try to burn it to the ground. And they put it in ovens and everything for 4 weeks. 2 weeks beforehand, you're telling me you're still reformulating? You're full of shit. And if you are, I'm terrified. Yes. And then I found out who was making this stuff, and I was like, this is going to be a shit show.
Yeah. Because I remember that you called it out, and I wish I could have been in the room with you because I was on my couch applauding you.
Cheering.
Because you called it out because he put on TikTok there was an emergency meeting with my lab about the yellow pigment or whatever it was.
Yeah.
One of
And
the
it still was
paints.
horrible.
And it was
Yeah.
horrible. And then I was screaming on my couch because he had the red dye that was like, these are all eye safe and these are all, you can use these all in the eyes. And I said, no, they're not.
No,
And
they're
when
not.
you called it out that there was specific dyes and you were like, this is not eye safe. This is going to cause irritation. This is going to cause staining.
Which is actually going to be remedied now because there's legislation that starts in July where everything has to be traceable. All formulations have to be registered. The FDA is finally doing something.
Yeah.
I'm working with a lot of clients right now where we're locking
Yeah.
down formulations because once they're registered, they can't be changed.
Okay.
Unless you want to go through the whole process again. Because then you have to, if you change a formula,
It needs to almost be resubmitted.
it has to be resubmitted. It has
Yeah.
to go through testing all over again.
Yeah.
Stability, everything all over again.
Yes.
They're finally getting on the EU bandwagon. Finally.
And do you think that will limit this quantity over quality situation we're in?
You're gonna hear the word MOCRA a lot.
Okay.
That's the I forget the exact long name of it, but
Yeah.
MOCRA is what's coming. MOCRA
Okay.
was passed. MOCRA goes into effect July 1st. And then once it goes into effect by July 1st, I believe you have to have all your formulations submitted by October.
Okay.
So everything you do, your formulas you have to show the testing, you have to show the stability testing, you have to have an ingredient list, you have to show the origins of every raw material you use.
Oh, wow.
All the drugstore shit.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what brands do you
They're
think
not
going to
be able to dupe in a week anymore
Exactly.
because you have
Exactly.
to show 3 months stability.
And is there almost so
Oh.
like you're saying, so let's say it goes into effect in July, by October, do you know anything yet in the sense of is there only certain times throughout the year you can submit, or is that just the beginning of when you basically it has to be in by October because
by
it's going
October,
into effect?
everybody has to have everybody has to have all their formulations submitted. But this is a no-brainer. This should happen a long time ago. The thing that's sad about it is, and I'm going to say this from a formulation standpoint, there are times when better raw materials come available to us, and a lot of companies are going to be hesitant to change a formula because they're going to have to do the whole stability again. They're going to have to pull it off the shelves. They're going to because right now, if you look at like any website, mostly Sephora's, Ulta's, whatever, when they have the ingredients, it says, and check the box for the most current. Like, this is the ingredient list we have right now, but might have changed.
Yes.
Might have been. Some people use that in a good way, and some companies use it in a bad way.
Yeah.
Because,
I could see it
oh,
both
well,
ways.
this is selling really well, so let's use something cheaper.
Yes.
On the other hand, some other companies like, okay, this is a better
we can tweak
emulsifier.
it. Yeah.
This is a better copolymer. This is a better cross polymer, whatever, blah, 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 blah. This is more advanced. This works better. This is going to be better sensorial, blah, 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 blah. Let's put that in.
Yeah.
Oh, but we have to sit that in testing for 3 months, and then we have to resubmit the Inky again, and we have to do...
Exactly. So
people don't understand how involved this whole process is.
I can't even remember.
Because fast makeup made it so stupid.
Yeah.
Things are coming out every week. Things are coming out every month. And most of this stuff, like I went benchmark shopping in Ulta, I think, when I was out in California. And I could not believe how many complexion products had fallen out of stability on the tester shelf. New products separated.
Yes.
This is before COVID.
Yeah.
I go in and I'm working with a client in California. I was like, let's go look at like current foundations and whatnot. And I was like, let's look at that because that's brand new. It's like it's only been on the shelves a couple of weeks. Every one of the testers was separated.
Wow.
And I'm like, this was rushed. This was not stability tested correctly. Because if it was stability tested correctly in this component, it should not have fallen out of emulsion 2 weeks into launch.
That quickly.
But the thing is, everybody was so hot on getting fast makeup out.
I know.
Gotta have a new thing. Gotta have a new thing. Gotta have a new. They were all going screw stability. If it is what it is, they'll buy it anyway.
Wow.
And nobody was policing it.
No.
Now the FDA is like, okay, you know what? I need to have your Inky. I need to have your stability testing information.
Yeah.
You can't just throw something on a shelf and say, oh, look what I got a week from now. which is what the James Charles is painted
I was
of
just
the
going to
world.
say.
It's like, you know, this
I can't even imagine what they can get away with.
Full circle.
Full
It's
circle
like,
now. I know.
full circle. It's
Coming
like, you know,
back.
2 weeks later, you're saying to me, it's like, oh my God, like we're still in there and we had to fix this. It's like, and that's going to be on the shelf in 2 weeks?
The fact that people still even support this person is a whole separate
Well,
issue.
yeah, that is.
I don't like that person at all. I don't agree with what they said, but you know what? I like their colors.
But he teaches me how to do my eyeshadow. So
Wait,
I'll
so
still
yeah,
follow
but
him.
I hate him, but I love his makeup.
And you know what aggravates, especially
That
the
I
people
can't.
support us, which aggravates me. Like
Yep.
people that support us, or if you follow me on social media, whatever, I give you guys tea into the inside of, especially being a male beauty content creator on the internet.
Thank you for using the term creator.
I hate influencer. Drives me
Because
up, makes me nauseous.
because people have to understand what influencers are. Influencers are, think about it. What is the word? They are paid to
Car salesman.
influence you to buy something.
Yep.
All about
That's
the money.
why they are called influencers.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
like, what are you not getting? It's like they're talking about this product because they want you to buy it because they're getting a kickback or they're paid to push it on you. It's like, be wary.
To see your involvement with Makeup Geek was fantastic in the sense that I will say this: in our era of working at Sephora, was in our memory, we always say Makeup Geek was one of the first e-commerce indie brands that felt so exciting and accessible and just different in the sense of what they were doing that wasn't quite pro, but was available to the consumer. How did you come into the fold with Makeup Geek, and what kind of was the origin of you starting to work with them? Because was that more marketing direction and creative direction, or product
Creative
development?
director.
Creative director.
Wow.
Okay.
Creative director.
Yes.
Marlena reached out to me.
Okay.
She's like, when are you in LA?
Yeah.
And I think I was in, trying to remember exactly what it was. Oh, I was in Burbank for Makeup Designery. I was doing an appearance at Makeup Designery, and she says, you're in LA. I want to meet you.
Yeah.
We went out to lunch. We sat for 4 or 5 hours
Yeah.
and just talked
Yeah.
about the business and everything. She says, you need to work with this.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And she signed me on. So I worked with her, and I loved. Her marketing manager, Jody, was like my right hand.
Yeah.
And Jody was mine. And we would go out for the couple of years that I worked for her. We would go out once a month to California. Jody was in Michigan where the home office was, and I was in New York, and we would both travel out once a month and spend a week in LA with Marlena.
Wow.
And work on stuff and go to the manufacturers and do all the other stuff and everything.
Yeah.
But on the back side of it, I would work with Jody on all the marketing, social media integration, copywriting, package design, collection design. In the Nude was mine.
Wow.
So, so with something.
That whole collection actually was mine.
So as iconic as that was, what did that feel like to see such a positive response with that collection, with like the mass appeal that
It didn't
had?
have a positive response.
You don't
Really?
It didn't?
No, it didn't.
I thought it
To
did.
Hustle Gaze, it did.
Yeah, for me
were
it
like,
did.
woo!
I loved
Yeah.
it.
They were like, neutrals? We want glitter. We want color. Everybody was pissed that it was neutral. I was like, you know what? I said, you've got all these colors. I said, we need to do something that
Neutral.
everyone can wear.
How funny that it's the perspective. I was excited.
With the
know.
bronzers, with all the other stuff, it was that whole collection was based on the fact of just like, my job is forecasting. I knew what was coming. I knew that the whole Instagram look was going to go sideways. So, and the thing is, we have to show people that there are brands that are influencer driven that are doing beautiful neutral makeup. So in the whole concept of in the nude, it's like you can be all neutral
Yes.
and still be beautiful and have your shimmer and have your this and that and look and slay.
Totally.
You can slay in the nude.
Yeah.
But no, it was like, and Marlena's like, I don't know if they're going to buy this.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm
I
like,
know.
well, we need to give it a whirl because honestly, this is the direction. Because if you look at where the industry is going, it's crazy. It's like triple cut creases and glitter and this and that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's got to boomerang back.
Yes.
I said, what's going to happen when it boomerangs back? It's not going to boomerang back halfway. It's going to boomerang back all the way. And it would have happened faster had we not had COVID.
That is wild. Because think about it. Like, think about how much time we lost in that aesthetic of
we lost 2 to 3 years.
Aspect
We lost 2 to 3 years in the industry
because of COVID, and now we're getting $50 KKW cardboard neutral palettes. Like we always say all the time.
God.
Like what I just compared it to, like, which again, I'm going to say, I don't know if that's the case, but the American Apparel of like, when you have a trend forecasting, you have almost like the people who set the trend are always underappreciated. And then you have the people that have the money to colonize the trend, if you will, and charge 9 times as much as everybody else. And that's the phase.
But you know what's funny?
Yes.
Nobody ever talks about the people that forecast the trend before the people that actually activate the trend.
You're totally
So it's
right.
like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, actually, this has been in the back of our heads for 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
We forecast 3 to 5 years in advance.
Yeah.
Like I know when it's very funny because when I have a new client coming in and I say, you should do blah, 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 blah. And they're like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, think about it. How many clients do I consult with?
Mm-hmm.
How much access do I have to forecasting and market reports and all this other stuff? If I tell you, you should do, it means it's coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take the free information because NPD analysis reports are $10,000, $15,000 a piece.
So, now, like, what do you think, if you can even say, what do you think is going to be the next big thing?
That whole 90s aesthetic is coming back.
Oh, I love that.
The dichotomy of the 90s aesthetic, because
Okay.
the 90s aesthetic was not one look.
Okay.
It was blown out, Versace runway, color, gorgeous, fabulous, Linda Evangelista, Naomi.
I'm getting turned on.
And
So
then-
far, I'm here for it.
And at
yes.
the
And the
same
same-
moment,
Yeah.
Yeah.
grunge.
Okay, so I'm also
But I think that's also because you and I doing what we do, we are so starved for anything that is not
Anything
what it
other
is.
than
But I get what
latte
you're
makeup.
saying. I think
Yeah,
the
then-
general consumer, that's interesting to see how they're going to digest
But,
that in a way.
do you see the evolution right now? It's like
Yeah.
we've swung the pendulum back so far to
Totally.
this natural, like glowy, glossy, blah, 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 blah. We're going to get dirtier. We're going to get dirtier.
Yeah.
But then for the people that don't want to get dirty,
Yeah.
there's going to be that high glam chromatic kind of like,
Yes.
when I was a baby makeup artist at that time.
Yeah.
And I used to be an assistant on runways back then. So I used to get to see all this stuff.
Yeah.
And like I would look at these shows and like Todd Oldham and like vinyl eyebrows.
Oh.
Iconic. But like quirky shit. But the thing is, the rest of the makeup was pristine and beautiful.
Yes.
The Versace look, that whole blown out blue spotlight,
Yeah.
shining, gorgeous. Like I said, Evangelista, Naomi Campbell, Christy
Yeah.
Charlington, all of them walking down the runway.
Yeah.
They did not have Instagram makeup on.
Yeah.
They had a shit ton of makeup on.
Yes.
They had color. They had definition. They had all these things.
Yeah.
But it was so perfectly, beautifully balanced.
Wow.
The running gag was I did the Carolina Herrera show year after year after year after year. And every year we did the same damn look and just changed the lip. It was always a neutral eye
Yeah.
with an accent color
Mm-hmm.
and a liner.
Yeah.
And then the lip that matched the collection.
Yes.
And that went on for years. And everybody's like, ah. I was like, it's the epitome of elegance. It's
Yeah.
the epitome of sophisticated beauty.
Yes.
Why would you go poo-poo-poo to this?
Yeah.
I mean, want to do a throwback?
Yeah.
Grace Kelly.
Yes.
Her wedding look
Yes.
70 years ago, 80
Yeah.
years ago, it's still iconic because the thing is the makeup was pristine and beautiful and
Yes.
the T word,
Yep.
timeless.
There's
Yeah,
an
I was just about to
association
say
with
it's
it.
timeless.
Yes.
Timeless.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're going back to more timeless looks.
Yeah.
And if people are upset about it because they want to be individual, well, nobody's stopping you.
I
Nobody has
know.
ever stopped you.
Yes.
The thing is, it's like, but there is a place. It's like all this Instagram. And the reason I keep on saying Instagram is because that's what it's associated with.
Absolutely.
Most strongly.
We know what you mean.
But
yeah.
that
Yeah.
crazy ass cut crease,
The social media
500
yeah.
tons of like caked on makeup through a filter.
Yes.
It never existed in reality. It
Yes.
only existed on camera.
Yeah.
And the thing is, people are like, well, blah, 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 blah. It's like, did you ever see it on a red carpet?
Yeah.
Ever. Did you ever see it in a fashion magazine? Did you ever see it in the pages of Vogue? Did you ever see it in Elle? Did you ever see it in Marie Claire in an editorial? No. When they do editorials, if there's outrageous makeup, it ain't big earrings and a big necklace. It's one or the other.
Preach.
One big swing or the other.
Girl,
so you swing hard on a bright eyeliner and everything else is nude.
Yes.
The thing is, it was never about piling on all that stuff.
Yes.
This was an era of people, I'm trying to find the right word for this, overusing, abusing makeup.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like we don't need all these layers. We don't need the Duxburys of the world. We don't.
Get me started.
You understand that the cosmetic industry is going nowhere.
Yeah.
If you want to be part of it, being outrageous 24/7 is not
sustainable.
Homogenizing you into the industry.
No.
Being this crazy influencer that does all this crazy stuff. And I credit you earlier saying the difference between creator and influencer.
Yes.
You're influencing people to buy 5 million things. This is why you put 5 million things on your face.
Exactly.
It's not reality. People don't do that. The thing is, if you want to be relatable, moving forward.
Yeah.
Because this is where we're going forward. We're going, whether you want us to or not, we're going forward.
Yeah.
How are you going to sustain this? You're known as the crazy girl that put 5 tons of foundation on. And then messed up with some jelly.
Broke it on purpose. Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, so got it.
Yeah.
Got it. We got another one who's famous for talking like this. It's like, You know, it's like, okay, yeah. And mind you, she does the most gorgeous makeup on herself. She is so talented. I don't know how I don't know how talented she is working on other people.
Agreed.
But on herself, pristine. I mean, I look at these, I look at her work and I'm like, girl, you are gold star.
I agree. And I will even say it because I've met other people that it looks very nice on social media, and then in person, I'm like, okay, this is different. Totally. Even in person, it's spectacular.
I mean, she does a gorgeous job.
She's very talented. I don't know other people. You're right.
Why are you not branding yourself as being that person? Because the thing is, I would love to watch you because I'm so intrigued by your talent.
I know.
As opposed to watching you for comedic value.
No, but you're totally right, because I think, and even to a certain extent, and what kills me is I have on one end where I am in the middle, I have people like, you know, you have the Michaela on this end doing what she's doing, not realizing that I would want to say to her, if you opened yourself up to showing, and that's, I was telling you about the TikTok she made about how TikTok gets banned. And she said, you know, my heart was never in influencing whatever. She goes, and even when she was on, she said, I still do makeup on other people privately and the whole nine. If she shared that aspect of herself, it would humanize her a little bit more to the people that love piling on her, in the sense that it would show her transforming someone. It would broaden people's understanding of her skill level, what she can bring to things. And then on this end, so you have this person doing what they're doing who doesn't even really want to do it. And then I have the industry of people who basically are the gatekeepers of content creators telling anyone who's not a Michaela, you need to be a Michaela. And because Michaela doesn't want to be Michaela.
But the thing is, the reason they're saying that is because we are dealing with a gatekeeping group that are of a certain age that do not have the vision to understand that we have to do long range plan. We have goals. And they're like, well, this is trending now, so you got to be like her. Like, she's selling that, so you got to be like this. I started telling you a story downstairs. Mm-hmm. I will now complete the story up here, because now that we're on camera, I'm like, you know what?
It is.
We're going there.
This is what it takes.
This is what it takes.
When a marketing manager from a certain company was telling me that my client had to make a certain product, and I was like, excuse me? They said, well, you know, everybody loves this product. And I was like, yeah, they do love it so much that you've already copied it and you're asking my client to invest $1 million or more.
I know.
And we're not going to have it to market for 18 to 24 months by the time we get through all the stuff to do this. And the trend's going to be gone. So where's your forecasting ability, Miss late 20, early 30 marketing manager who looks at a spreadsheet to make product and not looks at research and development, R&D. Do you know that most cosmetic companies have zero R&D now?
Oh, I believe it.
Everything is done on a marketing sheet.
Yes.
They look at the competition. What's sold there? Let's do that.
I know.
Like
the cookie cutter aspect, like you brought up before.
Yeah.
The Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter.
Because if I see one more person come out with the squeeze tube liquid,
I've been screaming this
Yeah.
for over a decade. It's like, why is it imitation over innovation? Why? Why?
I know. I can't take it.
I don't get it.
It's like, we're going to imitate them. We're not going to innovate anything.
No.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like, no lies.
Mm-hmm.
As developers, we benchmark things.
Mm-hmm.
We look at things that are popular, things that are made well. We don't look at things that are popular necessarily. We look at things that are made well.
Absolutely.
And we benchmark them and go, okay, this is this, and it's really good. How can we make it better? You guys saw lab samples downstairs.
Yes.
The thing is, it's like, well, we looked at a product and we saw what was great about it, but we think we can do it better. So here, this is what we're working on.
Yes.
That's the way you're supposed to do it. You don't copy people's homework.
The Makeup Forever of it, because we had watched you on HSN talking about the OG 2008 formula of Makeup Forever.
HD skin.
The HD skin. I started at Sephora 2014, and I think 2 seconds after I started, and everyone loved, all I ever heard when I started was the Makeup Forever foundation, the Makeup Forever foundation.
Yep.
We debunked yesterday, 5 seconds after I started, it got changed to the second formula.
Ultra HD.
And everyone still used it. And when I started doing makeovers, I was like, I don't like this. The second version of the Makeup
Do you want to hear
Forever.
a funny backstory in the original?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm so curious of
I
your
worked with
thoughts.
Danny on that. I worked with
Danny
Danny
Sands, right?
Danny
Was
Sands on
the
that.
yep.
And it's Thanksgiving time in 2007. We're gearing up for launch soon.
Yeah.
We're going to do a soft launch in February to the pro community at the Makeup Show Orlando. It's the first time they ever do it in Orlando.
Yeah.
We're going to show, we had got a huge HD screen. But anyway, so I'm in Paris.
Yeah.
And we're testing the foundations. I had not seen the colors that she did. They worked with Strand, which is this very famous manufacturer out in Lyon.
Mm-hmm.
They do a lot of Sicily products there.
Okay.
Gorgeous. Makeup Forever used to rent an entire wing for their lab. The reason that I was integral to this situation was I started working in HD in 1997 when it first started.
Yeah.
So not only did I work for the company, I was an HD expert because I had done makeup throughout the evolution of videotape, digital video, HD,
The creation
4K.
of HD. Yeah.
I relearned how to do makeup 4 times,
Yes.
according to what the formatting was.
Yeah.
Of course.
But I'm here just doing this, like, what do we got? Blah, 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 blah. And she shows me the finished 15 colors.
Wow.
And I looked around and I said, where are the American colors? Because they were all peachy pink. And she looked at me and she says, no, it makes the skin look, fresher. I was like, no, actually HD picks up every nuance. It has to match. So very interestingly, they launched the 15 colors in France. We launched 25 in America. We added 10 extra colors. And they were all, and if you look at the numbers, you could tell which were the American colors because the entire selection, the original Paris range was 105, 110, 115, 125, 130. The 107s, the 117 that everybody lost their shit over. The only olive tone, one of the very first super pale olive tones.
Yes. Oh my God.
We added those 10 colors in for America.
He's a Makeup Forever psycho. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, but I was like, they're not going to buy this. These are all peachy pink. We can't do this.
Yeah. After that launch with HD, were you there for the Ultra HD rebrand?
No, I was gone by then.
You were gone by then because I thought that was
But my big thing was, and always has been, everybody's screaming from the top of the mountains about Fenty being so progressive, coming out with all these foundation colors. It's like, if you worked on the professional side of this industry, Krylon, RCMA, Cinema Secrets, Mayron, all these companies have been making hundreds of foundation colors for years. Completely inclusive, total, spectral groups of colors forever.
Yeah, because I think of those brands more as true artist brands. Like if you have true quality product in your kit too, where like these makeup artist brands like Mayron, Krylon, RCMA, all of them.
I know.
Well, can we talk about the elephant in the room?
Yeah.
Yes.
The original, the holy grail
I think I know what
goat
you're going to say.
neutral palette that has been around for before the Naked palette, the Viseart
Yes.
Natural Matte #1 palette. Do you know how long that's been? Do you guys know the background of Viseart?
I don't
Viseart?
know. I actually don't know the background of them.
Back in the day, Christian Dior had a cosmetic line that was dedicated to film and television called Viseora. And we used to use Viseora foundation, cream foundation, and Viseora body makeup. I have original bottles in my archive at home that have the Christian Dior name still on them. And part of Viseora was a company called Viseart.
Wow.
Viseart has gone through 3 or 4 owners at this point. But I remember when I was a baby makeup artist going into Alcone when it was still on 19th Street in Manhattan to buy makeup for my professional makeup kit. And there was a Viseora eyeshadow palette there that has not changed yet. It is the baseline for every professional makeup artist. It is the ultimate neutral eyeshadow palette that can be used as contour, highlight, whatever. This has been around for 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Wow.
And nobody credits it.
No.
Nobody talks about it. And this is the OG.
Yeah.
This is the one that started that whole, and because it was the workhorse for professionals. Exactly. We only use these colors when we're working because we're not doing glamour. When we're on set, we're not using crazy colors. We're using basics. And what we're doing is, I'm going to get yelled at for this one, what they're now calling quiet luxury makeup.
Oh, God almighty. I just saw, yes.
Yes.
Feature enhancing makeup.
Yes.
This is what a true, well-made neutral palette is for. It is not any color addition.
Yes.
It is made to actually be used on global skin tones to accentuate or to pull back
detract
features.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And that palette has been around forever.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We could talk to Kevin forever. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you for being here.
Let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you.
You can harass me at KJ Bennett Beauty, BENNETT Beauty, anywhere on social media. Just don't come to my house.
Don't come to his house. Yes.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
And if you do come, bring really good liquor, not just liquor.
Bring a bottle of champagne, tequila,
Exactly. Fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel for your video episode one day early every single Sunday. Also, make sure to subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star review if you can. We'll see you next week, wherever you are.
We hope you are happy, safe, and healthy.
And remember
you're beautiful.
Oh, I love it. Bye, guys.
Bye.